Hi again, everybody. This is Professor Luchin, and this is sort of a week one, week two review, and I want to discuss what's going to be coming up in this course. So you can see on the screen here for Module 3, we're going to be getting into actual causes of injury, and these, you should recognize all these. Sure, bloodborne's first, but and I may add to this later, but I think it's sufficient now. I speak a little bit about the COVID pandemic. Ergonomics, slip, trips, and falls. I did material handling as part of sort of an add-on to the ergonomics, and then crane safety and proper rate. I just, these things could be rearranged, for the rest of the semester, but I just chose to put these all together. Also, these are things that I'm concerned about now too. So, yeah, it just kind of worked out that way. This is built, again, I think 2 years ago is when I reformatted this, and now in my what do you want to call it, my part-time job over the summer, being a safety director, these are my main concerns. Yeah. And now let's talk a little bit about the semester project. It's right here. I can bring it up so you can see it. So this is where you're going to actually perform a case study. Everybody's going to. And what I'd like you to do is by the end of next week to be able to define where you're going to do it. What are you going to focus on? And we can talk about it. You guys email me and we can set up a time and I can talk about it and clarify this more. But basically, I want you to get some hands-on experience based on what you've learned in this class and demonstrate to me that you can properly identify an issue, take an approach that we talked about in class to evaluate it, collect data, observations, and then make recommendations based on what your findings were. And then the last week of classes, of this semester class, what do you want to call it? Everybody's going to do a presentation. Now, you can do it multiple ways. It'd be great if we could all get together because then we kind of share what we learn and it's kind of fun that way. But I understand everybody's schedules are crazy and I can work around that. Another option is to meet with me one-on-one and you can do your presentation. I'm cool with that. If neither of those, is that right? Neither of those two options are available to you, you can record it and send it to me. And there's multiple ways you can do it. You can voice record in PowerPoint. You can use any downloadable program that allows you to run through slides and present like I am with this one right here. And then you could dump it on YouTube or something, or we could work something out. It seems like you guys know more about that stuff than I do. So the final reports are due by July 23rd, no later than that. Please try to turn them in before that. Grades are due, I believe, on the midday on the 25th. So that doesn't give me a lot of time to grade. We'll do the presentations during the week of the 17th. And the week prior to that, I'll send out some emails asking you, when do you guys want to meet? And hopefully we can find something that works for everybody. We could meet on the evening of the 17th like we have. Like last week, I think we had 4 people attend. Yeah, we had 4 people attend. We met Sunday night at 7. It's going to be Sunday nights or Sunday afternoons at 6 p.m. now. We had a request. So hopefully, if you would like to join us, you're very welcome. And it was a cool discussion, I thought. I did most of the talking, but hopefully you guys kind of get a little bit of method to my madness. Okay, so that's the project. You guys will be doing a case study. And I provided for you a lot of examples because everybody always likes to see examples. It can be pretty much anything. And a lot of it has, breaks down to what I had shared in this last week's modules where I provided you with examples of work I had done as a consultant. What's interesting is, all I was really doing was, evaluating issues and making recommendations. But now that I'm in this part-time position, some people call it a side hustle. I'm really getting into the solutions and what that means and making sure they are effective. When it comes to the discussion, I just want to speak about that really briefly. And let's see, it's under the module here. Make sure that if you cannot attend the live chat, the live discussion, that you're providing at least 3 responses. And I spell it out in the description of it that you're supposed to do at least 1 original and 2 feedback in order to get a B. I was a little bit less strict, so if you can't attend, and this week we've got several questions, try to answer 2 to 3 and maybe 1 reply, or at least 3. I'll give higher points for that. But just 1 little response. Again, you can meet with me for an hour and get almost 10 out of 10 if you participate and we talk about a lot of stuff. Or if you're going to do it yourself, make sure you're completing at least 3 of these, at least 3. Yeah. And make sure they're of substance. Okay. All right. So what do we want to talk about now? I want to kind of share with you some background on this job I'm doing. And so I've got a lot of materials here that I want to share with you. And so when I started, and I believe I started on December 28th, but my first, full day, I met with my direct supervisor, the I think operations manager. I think there were 5 priorities that were kind of detailed, and I'm in the process right now of actually going back and reviewing my daily journal and reflections to make sure that I'm still on track and that I'm working towards the original plan. And just looking at this now, we've updated. I'm saying the other safety person in the other plant and we've updated the safety action tracker to be a better representation, better reporting of data. The Wesco report is still kind of hanging out there, and I need to reevaluate it. And it's primarily programmatic at this point, and I've redefined what the priorities are based on an improved tracking system. I have been doing daily visual audits, and I'll show you the results of that. And I have been working with others. It's been going pretty well. I did explore and do a study on retractable blades. I'm not going to talk about that today, but it's an ongoing issue. Lacerations, cut, puncture, scrape are an issue. I am looking at doing a new type of risk assessment and JHA. What I found is they had done about half of the processes in the plant last year before I came in, but the results provided nothing. Nothing they reported could be used to make functional improvements in the job to mitigate what could be causing injuries. So it was a lot of work and no result. And I'm very concerned about that. I'm not going to go spend hours and hours on something if it's not going to yield something that I'm not going to be able to say, okay, so this is what we should focus on first. So I've been very haphazardly going through based on, what people report to me or what I'm asked. And that's been taking up all of my time. So you'll see here early on, I was able to actually put the time in which I met with people or found things and was able to report more. So that was December 29th. If I was to, let's see, I got a January 3rd. So this was the following week. It's popping up on the other screen. I'm still able to put in the times, but you can see here that I'm putting a little bit more thought into somebody reported to me. I'm looking at solutions. This was an issue. This was a design idea. Okay. Next is, this is from Friday. This last week, I'll just tell you, was really rough. I'm not putting the times in anymore. I'm still trying to track my, when I'm there and when I'm doing stuff. This all needs to be reviewed. But I'm still trying to take note of when people ask me questions and what I'm doing. The yellow are things I need to do or at least follow up on. I need to cross them out if they're done. So there's a lot that I'm behind on because I've been so busy. And so you can see that, even the most organized person in this field can get caught up in the day-to-day. And so that's where my notes are now. They're not as good. So what I did is I started a new tracking system. So I've got this new Excel sheet. I'm pretty sure it's on the screen. Hopefully you guys are seeing it. I really hope you guys are. Geez, if you're not, this is going to be crazy because I'm not seeing that thing anymore. I don't know if I can see it. Hopefully it is. Play by ear, right? So here are my observations. So I got all the data I was able to mine out of the previous system, and then I'm doing my daily stuff. And I'm marking whether it's on progress, whether I'm doing it or somebody else, the dates it's being entered, and then I've got a rate too. And so this has now become a metric in my reporting for the safety program. One of my earlier things to justify this is I was tracking here. I'll try to zoom this in so you can see it. Monthly, and this is over the last year. So counts for department action. So plant wide is going up. That's good. That means I'm doing more like almost high level corporate stuff versus just dwindling in the different departments. My OSHA recordables, my lost time and near miss, they've all gone down. Now, I would like the near miss to come up. I want more of those. And I don't have May and June, but I have actually had more first aid level near miss. Now, you're saying, well, why do you want more near misses? I want more reporting of near misses because I know they're occurring. Okay? I just whispered into the microphone. It was probably super butt loud. Items that I've been adding to my list of what I'm looking for or looking at has gone up considerably, as has the employee reports. That was one of my goals, as I want more input from the workers. But as of now, the near misses are a little bit low, and I'm going to remedy that. My monthly counts of total action, so the things I'm correcting, they're going up. Yeah, all the numbers are going up because I'm hearing of more and documenting more, but eventually I'll get on top of this. I'll be able to recategorize what people are reporting because there's a lot of redundancies in here, but I put them in anyway because it's something I heard. And that then evolves into this master data set here. And I'm required to report this twice a month. These are my leading, and I'll show you my first presentation in which I recommended this. It's now been adopted, and I'm moving it to the other sites. Leading safety metrics, so my observations and concerns. Halfway through the month, I've already exceeded my 20 per month. Actions completed, I've already exceeded my 12 per month. And this is, again, not all the way through the month. My safety training has now begun. I've had difficulty trying to work it into the schedule, but I think I found a new option, and I'm going to be pursuing this. So this number is actually much higher now because I did do second shift. I just have to enter in their names and numbers, and I'm planning that and tracking it right there. The employee perception, I'm going to try to do it this week. It's something I've been putting off for a long time. And then the JHAs and safety audits should kick off this coming week. I'm going to start doing it and see what I can do to capture what is needed based on. So I'm going to be doing on Monday, tomorrow, I am going to be doing an audit of my notes, and then I'm going to create a plan to do the safety training every week, 4 minutes at a time, mind you, and then start doing these. And I already asked some people, where should I start? They gave me some ideas. So I'm going to start going out there and just doing my visual and breakdown and the numerical application of risks, which is severity times probability. I'll be talking to the workers and getting their input. And then the perception survey will be done hopefully by the end of the week, if not kicked off, because I hope to meet with my safety team for the third time this week or early next. I got to do it this week, so I have one in June. My first aid cases, so I had a 3-to-1 in June so far. I'd like it to be 10-to-1 or more. You can see this metric's a little bit off. So I do think that I need more reporting on the first aid cases, and I'm working on that, and I'll show you what my idea is. Total number of recordables, we had 2 this last month. 1 was a days away. We're still below what I'm tracking for the year. We're at 6 and 4. Last year, we had 16 and 11. And so my goal is to improve all lagging metrics by 20% year over year. That's what YOY means. And so that's where I got the 13 and 9. Okay. So we're still on track, but we need a few good months. My ratio of safety observations to DART cases is very good. We've almost improved over last year already. All of last year. And I couldn't report the incidence rates because it wasn't a full month yet. But if you look back at my May numbers, we want it to be below 10 and 7 because it was this and this last year. Again, 20% reduction. Per month, it can go up and down. But for the year so far, we're at about a 5.9 and a 4.5. Some people will say you should compare that to your industry average, but there is no such thing. I'm going to show you that in a moment. So far, as long as we're doing better than last year, that's what we want. So those are my metrics that I have to report out. Here are my raw incidence reports. This is near misses all the way up to lost time. Here's my monthly modification. So each month I create a table that I report in my presentation to upper management. And I do the OSHA recordable stuff in orange. And what's interesting, if we were to read these aren't things that can be obviously like corrected. They're like one-off things. Person was struck in the forehead because a door bounced back. This person strained their shoulder trying to open a window. This one here, we don't even know what caused it. This person just started having pain. This one, they were sweeping like they do at the end of every shift, and their knee went out. This one here, this was actually one that could be corrected, and I'll show you what we did for that. It was a laceration, a finger laceration. This was just, they're doing work and something slipped. And then this first one here, was it not, do we have any? We didn't have any the first 2 months. So this first recordable of the year was in March. Their shoulders have hurt for a while, and they finally decided to report it. So one out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 out of 7 OSHA recordables is something that I could correct. I just want you to keep that in mind, because a lot of times we think, oh, it's OSHA recordable. Oh, we got to go out there and prevent it from happening again. A lot of this stuff is just so random and unpredictable because it's just part of the job, and it doesn't, 99% of the time, nothing, no problems happen. 99.9% of the time, nobody gets hurt, nothing happens. It happened. Okay, so that's that. My training plans I'm working on, and the JSA. So I'm putting everything in one document here. It's an important document. It's one thing I really had to do. Next. Oh, I'm also working on this monthly plant safety update. So I will have this. I'm going to talk about my safety training and how it's going, the safety action priorities based on what what I'm finding and what my safety team is telling me, and then results of my audits. And this is going to be posted every month or updated every month, and they can contact me if they have questions. So this will be hung in several different boards, so people know where we are with the safety program. This is going to be the genesis for the written program, is this monthly safety update. That's what workers are told. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to show you. No, first what I'm going to do is kind of show you some things I do. So when there's an accident, we find something severe, I do a safety alert. This is my first one. Found a worker standing on the top of the rails of a scissor lift. Got them down immediately, contacted their safety manager because it was a contractor. I pulled some data or some information from the OSHA website. Basically, this can't happen. I educated everybody in site. Everybody agreed. And this has not happened since, and this person knows not to do that at our plant. We did have some cut, puncture, scrape in the machine. The first thing I did was create some signage to go on all the machines, both in English and Spanish. Make sure that you turn off the air valve before you do any work inside the taper. But something happened again, so I had to put up even a more drastic. Now, this is something I found online. So when the tape right here doesn't return to its starting spot, you have to turn off the air, open up the side, and then you can reach in and reset the tape. If you don't, that will happen. This got a lot of workers talking. We haven't had an incident since I posted this, though I think they've spotted some workers kind of deviating. This happened just like last week. We had a contractor in doing some electrical work. They put a lockout tagout device and lock in this cabinet right here. This is what the lock looked like. This was the device. So he came in and found that it was electrified and it was removed. And so we did a quick investigation, found out very quickly that it fell off. Nobody cut the lock. So luckily he did check it and then relocked it, but we're going to be meeting with the safety director of the contractor just to kind of talk about the devices they're using and whether our cabinets are suitable. Now, first of all, here's the other thing too. This cabinet has multiple violations, OSHA violations. So don't take this as, oh, is that what there's? No tape, no paper. This gap right here, unacceptable. So this needs to be rebuilt. And maybe the rebuild would allow for better locks and tags. Another thing, so I bought 5 of these signs and put them up around the plant. It gives me an instantaneous sound level reading, temperature reading. I do it in Fahrenheit, of course, and then relative humidity. Right now, my biggest concern is heat stress, by far. I'll share more on that after I kind of show you where the whole project started. But this is important. These are now posted up. As far as noise levels, the caution is at 90, the warning's at 100. This is the OSHA PELs. So warning would be 2 hours at a certain amount. Otherwise, it's 8 hours at 90. Okay? So they can look at that and they can judge whether they can turn up their stereos or not. For the temperatures, and I've been monitoring these now, and I'll tell you a story in a little bit that I'm really happy about. I broke down this caution, warning, danger zone based on temperature and humidity. And there's ranges here. But I've been tracking this stuff, and this is something that my boss actually adopted on Friday and instituted a rest schedule. Oh, I'm so happy. I was really stressing about this, and I'll give you more information about it, but I am really happy that based on my data, that generated this table and some industrial hygiene standards, we adopted this as a company. I'm really happy about that. It's going to help people. Here's my heat stress training that I've been doing, and I put up signs all over the plant as a reminder. Again, this is my 4-minute pitch. I've got the symptoms of heat exhaustion versus heat stroke in English and Spanish. I told everybody some of the basic symptoms about it, that basically I let them know you guys should be drinking 2 to 3 cups of water per day. Yes, coffee, soda is fine as long as you're drinking water in complement to that. That check yourself. If you're feeling dizzy, confused, faint, talk to somebody. If you're excessively sweating, you need to take a break. You gotta cool off. Keeping working, you're just gonna get hotter. But if they get to the point where they have a headache, they're nauseated, they stop sweating, I said that's 911. You need to go see your supervisor immediately, and you may have to go to the hospital, though we'll try to put you in a cool area. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. It went away. That's so weird. Excuse me. I wanted to make sure the coworkers are looking out for each other and that they do know when to get help immediately. And I really stress that. 4-minute presentation. All kinds of workers came up and talked to me because of that just 4-minute presentation. I could spend an hour talking about heat stress and the body's reaction. How much do they really retain? I told them what they needed to know. And then I gave a little bit of extra information to the supervisors, so they had a little better indication. Now, I can go a little bit more in depth when I build this program, but this is the starting point. And I'm really proud of it. Okay, so let's look at the presentation. So I'm going to give you, I'm going to show you where I started. Okay, where did you go? Here you go. And I'm not going to actually play it. I'm just going to play it big. So this was my first presentation based on my first few weeks with the company. So again, this was the old reporting system that they used. I recommended this new one. You'll see it's very similar to what I had shown you. This is now the new adopted version, just so you know. They understand the value of looking at leading indicators. When I first came in, it's a little bit bigger. I started looking at their workers' compensation records. That was my first step. And what I wanted to educate them is that I understand where your costs are, because you got to show them that I'm saving them costs, showing value, right, in what I'm doing. So here's their primary losses. Here's the expected. Here's the actual. Their mod rate is a 1.04, which means they paid 4% above what would be considered the average. But in Wisconsin, the average is actually 0.93. So we're actually, in comparison to peers, we're paying about 11% above. Now, what I did is I went back and looked at the loss ratios and found that for the 3 years that go into the calculation here, our loss ratios were 68%, 43%, and 40%. And that is what is expected over, what actually occurred divided by what it was expected. So the higher the number, the worse you are. And you actually need to be below something in the 40s in order to achieve an EMR below 1. Because when it goes below 1, you pay a percent of a reduction in it. But I said after this year ends, what we'll have is a 43, a 40, and a 33. But that may be a little bit higher now. I just received the preliminary numbers about 2 weeks ago. And you see how this goes down about 11%? That's exactly what this is going to go down by. I believe we are going down to a 0.92. So I predicted this in February, and it came out just last week that I was correct. They're going to actually have an 8% reduction in the average, or compared to here, a 12% reduction. And that's $1 million times by 12%. That's what they're going to be saving just because they've got better rates. And I'm really working hard to get these loss ratios down below 30 for this year. And then that'll go into the calculation in a couple of years. Here is a a distribution of 5 years. Is that what I said? From 17 to 22. Yeah, it's about 5 years. So they had 206 claims. This is company-wide, not just my plant. About 1.3 million in total benefits paid. There were 30 $0 claims. So a claim or a file was created, no claims were made. Sometimes that happens. What's interesting is you hear about the average of things. The average claim was about $6,300. You'll hear something like that. Did you know that the median claim was only $1,100? Because most of the claims are very low. But then there's a small sample. So I've got 8 claims worth $615,000, about 47% of the total paid. And I know that a few of those that occurred before my watch are up over 115,000 now. The max was 150. It's above that now. This one actually kept going up. So as you can see, the average of things doesn't matter. You'll have some really expensive claims. Why they're really expensive? Just like it said in your Stevenson book, Inches in Seconds. Just the treatment is really expensive. It's not that it was more of a severe injury. It's just expensive to treat. And then you've got these things that happen more frequently. I'm trying to spend more time understanding what the frequency is. I want to lower the frequency of things. And then try to minimize the severity or speed up the treatment as well. I'm working on that too. The final results show that between the Madison and the Poinette plant, what we need to do, but I really focus on the Madison plant because that's my charge, right? Can expect 5 work comp claims ranging between this and this conservatively in this next upcoming year. And I'm trying to minimize that. I don't want to say anything more than that. As far as OSHA recordables, I calculated incidence rates, compared them to NAICS. Yes, we're twice what it is, but our ratio is really bad, and that's what concerns me the most. So what I really want to do is have a minimum of 200 observations or concerns, and I believe that will help us drive down these rates, not just what the rates are. And here's kind of the listing. So far, we're doing pretty well. The incident reports have gone up, both prior to my tenure and currently, and where I think they should be. And I use these to estimate what I want per month. Oops. Here's the incident reports for January 2023. You can see what I'm trying to show them is that compared to previous years, I'm trying to get more information, and I'm allowing that information to guide how I do things and what the solutions may be. Here's the safety action tracker prior to me fixing it or repairing it. I'm just kind of again trying to show them I want 20 per month and what this stuff means. And I'll be reporting this in a better format. Oh, here's the Wesco report that I'm going to be, I need to revisit this and close. So some things have been closed. Some things are still opened. And I'm moving from, and I'm exploring, investigating, trying, testing new vendors that I think will serve us better and make sure that the equipment we have better suits our needs. Right now, I'm still relying what was here prior to me. So I think I'll be able to knock these off as soon as I switch vendors. They're going to actually complement the work I'm doing and take some of it off of my shoulders, which means the work being done is going to look a lot better by the end of the summer, I'm hoping. These are my target performance goals. Still kind of holding to these. I need to get ahead of what I'm working on right now, and then that'll get better. So that was me back at the beginning of my thing. One thing I want to do is inform. I wanted to inform the workers more, and so I came up with this. I was going to do a weekly post, so I started on the 20th of February. Ask questions, report concerns. Safety is everyone's responsibility, and this did work. This got workers coming to me. I put these up around the plant. I want to make sure that they're wearing their personal protective equipment. But the thing is, I need to verify that this is the right equipment. In my auditing, I'm going to evaluate compliance with our current program, but I want to update the program first. I want to make sure they're using their blades properly. That was the next one. I thought this was I posted this, people loved it. This actually got them talking about using their blades more carefully. You guys know Blade from the comics? I don't know. I then made a post in March to start meeting with the safety team. I've got like 16 people for all shifts covered, and it's been going really well. They're so open and honest with what they'd like me to work on. Really excited about that. Didn't use that one. This became, the impetus for my heat stress training. I also posted just the illnesses. Here's the actual one that I have posted now, and I have these posted up around the plant. And I also, for our 5S boards, made sure that they keep in mind lockout tagout and are wearing hearing protection. So I'm really, visualization, as long as it's kind of subtle but interesting, draws the eye. That's what I try to do. And I try to change these out every week, 2 weeks, maximum 2 weeks at a time. Hopefully that was interesting to you. Let's see. Trying to think here. Let's take a quick look at my most recent presentation. Oops, what happened? There we go. So this was part of my bi-weekly staff meeting. Just gave this list last week. So here are my metrics. I've got June so far. I've got my May total. I've got my 2023 total. And I've got my comparison to full year 2022. And here are my targets. I really need to get going, update training. I hope to be adding on a new topic by next week. So July, I'll probably cover 3. I hope to have some input into my JHAs. Again, I hope to do 2 per month, 1 in metals, 1 in media. And then I hopefully will have a baseline for my perception survey. I just updated some of the questions. I'm not going to share that right now. That's a little advanced. But I need some of the worker input on where their heads are. But anecdotally, I kind of know where it is. So I reviewed my June. So there's a lot of entries here for June. We've got some. I got a few near misses here. I got some first aids here. And then I've got a few recordables. And again, these 2 recordables, one, I'm not sure where it's going to end up because the paperwork hasn't been filed yet. It may be a non-recordable. I don't know yet. This one was recordable because the laceration that they incurred required surgical adhesive to close. No sutures, but surgical adhesive does require it to be recordable. No lost time. Went back to work after he got patched up. And he's okay now. I talked to every worker who is injured on the job. As far as progress, heat stress, my number one concern. Why? When you're experiencing heat stress, you get confused and you may not make the right decision to seek assistance to cool down. And if you reach a state to where your body is pooling blood to the core of the body as a means to protect itself, and so you stop sweating essentially, it's a series of events until organs start shutting down. And so if you try to drink cold water when you're under that state, you're going to throw it up. I'm sorry, that's what happens. And so I'm very worried about that. And I'll show you here in a moment why. And so what I've been trying to do is come up with a plan to cool the plant off at night. And so I worked 2 all-nighters this last week, and I am not the spring chicken I used to be. I used to be able to pull all-nighters in grad school. Not the case anymore. It really took a lot out of me. But I did find some plans to lower the temps a little bit more than what they have through passive ventilation. I'm using more forced air. So that's the idea. So just having fans, that helps a little bit, but overall you need to cool the building. And we get a little bit of reprieve this week. And so I've got some ideas. I'm working with the building manager. So one thing I want to institute this week are I call it the safety report card. And so workers can anonymously submit questions, concerns, observations, or ideas. If they want to talk to me, they can put on here how. I will. They can email me if they prefer. I took out the anonymity part. I couldn't assure that. These will be posted all over the plant. I think I'm going to put them at the first aid kits. I just need to create a collection box or 2 that people can slip them in without anybody else seeing. So this is my second priority this week. So Monday, I want to review and update my priorities based on my notes and observations. Second is to get this going. Third is to do the perception survey. and continue with my training. I hope I can do that. So I want to do some severe weather preparedness training, finish my heat stress. Next month is going to be actually lockout tagout. It's going to be held in July as well. So I'll be doing lockout tagout, hearing conservation, and PPE in July. PPE may go into August now because I'll be trying out these new vendors, and we're going to do a wall-to-wall assessment and have workers try things out. Is that all? Yeah, that's all. Okay, so that's where I am right now with my current plan. I can close that. I can close that. And that. All right. So what I want to share with you now is, do I have any more PowerPoints? Nope. Share with you this. So using those signs, I go out and I do a walkthrough and I take the numbers. What the orange is, that's starting the day. So that's after a night of passive cooling. And you can see that when the cooling starts at a certain time, when the cooling starts at a certain temperature, and there's a plan for it to get up to 89, you can see I start getting into the yellow. Yellow is caution. And then you see I've got yellow caution, orange warning, red. And so this last Friday, we were under threat of it exceeding the caution and going into a warning. So I shared all this data with my boss. I shared this with her. I shared this whole thing with her, and she's like, you're right. So they actually instituted a work rest schedule in order to minimize or give workers a paid break to cool off, because the break room is air conditioned, and we have popsicles and water and all kinds of replenishment fluids for them, just to make sure that their body burden isn't so much that they can get sick. So without this data, without the signs, without referring to what is considered kind of the state of the art of what heat stress can do to a person, I don't think I would have gotten that approval. And I'm really proud of this, because when I was overnight on Thursday night, I just couldn't get the air to cool because it didn't cool down at night the way it normally does. And so I'm experimenting with it. We're going to try to get some more ventilation to come through the wall and push more out the ceiling, just like I had shown before. But yeah, so this has been my biggest concern, and I think I've almost conquered it. Almost. Pretty close to it. And I'm really proud of the work we've done, because we've got 3 new processes, and they're kind of jammed into areas that weren't ready for people to go into those areas. So there's very little air circulation. And just with my signs, my data, and the things I've put together, everybody's kind of coming together. What else do I have here? Oh, I was supposed to do noise monitoring, and so I put together some training. This one page, what I want them to know, what level of noise can harm them. They can look at the signs and see what they're being exposed to. This was the actual noise sampling that happened the year before. I'm going to have my students do it this fall. And this is how you put in earplugs and what it means. And that's going to be their test. Explain to me what is harmful levels of noise, how to put in earplugs properly. And then I'm going to document that. And that's going to be the training. And we've got actual annual audiograms scheduled for July 20th. Did you know it took me like 3 days to try and get the work order approved to get that confirmed? That's why it got pushed back from the 26th. No, I'm sorry. Did I have on here when we were going to do it? So we were supposed to do this last month, but they canceled the day before because they didn't have a proper PO, purchase order, set up for that. And so, yeah, I had to figure all that out. Just not cool, you guys. Seriously. So that's everything. That's where I am right now. I still have to put together the written programs. The written programs are predicated on what's really going on in the plant. And so I'm trying to finalize and understand that and create a more realistic plan of the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the biannually type things. Once I have that, then I can go back and write an umbrella program that talks about the safety and health, and then I can narrow it to this is what management's going to be told on a monthly basis and quarterly basis. This is what supervisors need to know to help me out. This is what the workers need to receive in order to get their job done successfully, safely, and hopefully elicit satisfaction. That's the plan, and it looks like I get to stay through the fall. So I'm really hoping that as I move forward, I'm going to really think about the legacy that I'm creating. And I hope that the next person who takes over can appreciate everything I've built as a foundation, and they take it and they can continue what I'm doing, but then they can add their own experiences and keep improving as the workforce changes, as the conditions change and everything like that. So that's everything I wanted to cover. If you got questions for me, please let me know.